Hello everyone, welcome to the Season 2024 Cassante Itemization Guide, where I will just be running through what I've found to work the best for Cassante. So, everybody's been asking me, like, is Cassante good in the new season? Is Cassante good? Like, oh, they removed this and that. And my first interpretation was that it was going to be terrible, because they pretty much got rid of Gauntlet, Rush, they removed Gargoyles, which was his best item, and, all the tank items scale off of health, and Cassante doesn't scale that well with health, so I was expecting this to be a really big loss for him, but after a few days of learning it, I think this is a really, really good season for him, and I really like the refreshing itemization that Cassante has now, instead of just going Iceborne and Gargoyles every single game. So, I'm just gonna run through what I found to work the most. Cassante's playstyle hasn't changed too much, but I think his itemization has some worthy points to talk about. So, first things first, when you're playing Cassante, you're actually gonna have to itemize against the person you're laning against. I know, it's crazy. Cassante actually has to itemize against the person he's laning against. You don't just go Gauntlet every game into Kennen Singed Teemo. So, if you're against a AP champion, I found Kanik to be wonderful. I love this item with all my heart. It gives you a nice shield. The build path is insanely good. This item gives you HP regen after taking damage, so it's really good against damage over time, or poke mages or whatever. So against Teemo, each time his poison ticks on you, this constantly refreshes. Paired with Second Wind and D-Shield, that Teemo is not taking you anywhere. And once you have the item actually completed, you just take a trade, even if they do 400 damage to you and you did 50 to them, doesn't matter, because you still win the trade after 10 seconds because you have a free magic shield. So taking small trades with this is really nice. If you're against an AD champion, you have a little bit of options if you're against an AD champion. So if you're against an auto attacker, I really like Frozen Heart. And the reason I waited to make this video was because I knew they would make some little adjustments and some changes with the micro patch or the next patch after. So I want this video to stick around for a while. And I'm really happy that they're not making any changes or drastic changes to the tank items. I think it's only they're increasing the gold of this item by 100 gold in next patch. And I still think it's really, really strong into auto attackers. If you take this into Yone or Yasuo or any champion that relies on ramping up their damage, I think it's wonderful. And the reason it's so good into Yasuo and Yone, and I get a lot of Yone top lanes, is Yone's cooldowns basically get lowered the more attack speed he has. So if you go Frozen Heart, you are lowering his cooldowns, and you are lowering his damage by a significant amount. For how cheap it is so good. So let's talk about Cassante's playstyle. How do you want to play him a little bit? I'm not going off topic with the itemization, but I just want to throw this little key point in here. So it used to be Cassante had a decent early game and strong mid lane, strong mid game, and then he has a above average late game. But they changed it so he didn't have infinite scaling and then whatnot, and then he became terrible early game, decent mid game, and then decent late game. Now it's terrible early game, but it's manageable. I've actually took Cassante mid lane, which basically removes the factor of dying to these oppressive top lane champions. I really like playing him mid lane. He's still good top lane, he just has an easier time scaling. Cassante has a wonderful mid game, and he has a wonderful late game. That's why I really like the new items, because you're paid off for surviving the early game, and I'll get into why I really like him mid to late now. So pretty much always my second option is Jacques Show. I think this item is just great. It replaces gargoyles. It has everything Cassante wants, and let me explain why I don't go Hollow Radiance, actually, because I've seen pros build this, and I've seen a lot of people ask me to, like, oh, it's really good, it's really good. No, it's not good. On Cassante, it sucks. I'll tell you why. So, what I really like about Kanik and Frozen Heart is notice how much resistance it gives. 70 armor, 20 ability haste, it's also really good. 80 magic resist. These resistance numbers are really, really impactful. And it's because Cassante has 4 scalings on resistances in his kit. His Q cooldown, his Q damage, his W damage, and his alt damage conversion. And also you take less damage. So Cassante utilizes resistances more than anyone else in the game. And when you build Hollow Radiance, you have 40 magic resist. Your Q, when you hit your first item power spike, it's supposed to feel like you're starting to get into that mid game. I built this item 5 times and it felt like I was stuck on a component because my Q was still 3 seconds. My Q did no damage. My W, well, you can't notice the W changes that much. And my R also just felt terrible because I didn't have that extra 50 or 40 magic resistances that convert into 80. That's like 10, 20 AD, which really makes an impact. And the benefits you get from it is you do damage to everyone around you, scaling with health, and wave clear. Now, Cassante doesn't need wave clear. He already one-shots the wave. And Cassante also doesn't utilize the Sunfire passive very well. I explained this before, but basically, when you're against 3 ranged champions, Cassante wants to isolate 1 champion. And Cassante does not have good health scalings in his kit. They nerfed the E scaling, they took away the R scaling on health, and they lowered the Q scaling, or the amount of health you need to maximize the Q cast time on your Q. So Cassante scales with health terribly. Not only that, but compared to other tanks, Cassante doesn't have any health. He doesn't gain any innate health from his kit. And what I mean by that is when you look at Cho'Gath, Ornn, Scion, all these tanks have a way of getting health in their kit, and their entire goal is to sit in front of the team and tank damage and be a magnet. Like, everyone is supposed to just hit them, and their Sunfire is doing damage to everyone around them. And then you also have Unending Despair that's Hope Adrift, but Unending Despair that saps everyone, scales off of health, and then you have all these health scaling tank items that like benefit off of like everyone hitting you, right? Cassante can tank, but Cassante is just the complete opposite. He wants to isolate one enemy and just kill them, right? He doesn't benefit from Sunfire at all. He doesn't want people hitting him. He can have everyone hitting him for 1.5 seconds before he gives out, unless you're extremely, extremely fed to the point you can do anything you want. But my point is, this item does not get Cassante into the game. It offers no benefits for him, and I just don't really think it's the item you want to build first. And I was looking at Force of Nature as well. I think Force of Nature is also a wonderful magic resist item, but it's impossible to get this stacked up in lane, unless you're playing an all-in. I think Force of Nature isn't as consistent as Kanik, but if you're against an AP champion, I think Kanik is wonderful. Paired with Shield Bash, that's another thing I wanted to talk about. Shield Bash has an insane synergy with Kanik Rukurn, and I'll show you quickly. You get armor and magic resist when you're shielded. So remember how I was telling you that Cassante has 4 different resistance scalings? Yeah. I know it sounds like, 10 resists, 12 resists, that's like nothing. It adds up. I'm going to tell you, that shit adds up. When that, 0.1 second lower cooldown on your Q, that 10 more damage on your W, trust me, it adds up. I really like Shield Bash every time I go Rukurn, because not only does it makes you tankier, you constantly have the shield up, and it just it synergizes wonderfully for you. If you press E, like let's say you're in lane and you just got the shield back up and you press E, Q auto, your auto attacks do damage based on your new shield amount. So you're gonna do so much damage if you hit them with your passive grasp, shield bash. If you have a sheen too, they're just getting slammed. And team fights, it also works wonders as well. So that's why I really, really like Kanik and Shield Bash. You'll see me taking that a lot. And I don't take Demolish as much anymore is because Cassante just has a terrible early game. You can pretty much almost never touch their tower, so I don't even bother trying to take Demolish or like try and get plates, because a lot of Demolish's value comes from being able to take plates and being able to like ramp up a lead. Cassante doesn't do that. He just tries to chill early game, wants to like focus on farming, focus on getting gold from minions and XP, and going even with the lane opponent. If you watch a lot of pro games, you'll see that Cassante is usually down 20-30 CS. Even I was just watching the LEC, I think it was Rumble versus Cassante. Cassante is just down CS until like later into the game. It's because Cassante just can't contest for CS. Rumble will just kill him. So you're going more this defensive approach. Of course, you can take conditioning if they don't poke you too much, and if you're against someone that isn't a lane threat, you can conditioning is really nice. But if you need that extra survivability, you can always go second wind. And this is usually a really safe setup. Of course, you can go armor magic resist, but I think they're changing that, which kind of stinks. But you know what? It is what it is. Biscuits and approach. Approach is really, really good. I would advise for this every game because it used to be I took Cosmic because you took Flash TP and you had Iceborne, so you didn't really need that extra help to get on people. But now that you take Ghost every game because they removed a lot of the Flash combos, and you also don't go Gauntlet every game either, when you Q someone, this extra movement speed you get from slowing them really, really helps with your sticking power. Okay, I did get a little bit off track there, but I will go back to the items. So, after you grab a situational first item based on if you're against an AP, you grab a Kanik. If you're on AD and like an auto attacker, you can go a Frozen Heart. If you're looking to all in them, Sunfire is good. Now, I said I didn't like Sunfire, but I will give a pass to it if they have more than 3 melee champions. I do not build Sunfire that much, but like, for example, here, I think I was against Talon mid lane, and I saw that they have a Bel'Veth, they have a Talon, and they have a Rumble. So I said that Cassante doesn't really benefit that much from the Sunfire, but here, I know Talon wants to roam, and I also know they have 3 melee champions. So I know they might like try and just focus me, and they're gonna dogpile on me. So I didn't mind Sunfire that much. And also the wave clear helped mitigate Talon's roam. The second he tried looking for anything, I would immediately let him know, like, hey, you're just gonna miss like all of this, and he would be like forced to choose more quickly. And that really put a stop to Talon. He still did pretty good, but we ended up winning. And that's why I went Sunfire first. You can see I rushed at this game. And then I think Jockshow second is like really, really good. I've seen some pro players go Aegis, which is, you know, the pro play equivalent. But let's be honest, it's solo queue. You're not really playing for your team, you're playing for yourself. I'm joking, but like you want to be maximizing the amount of resists you're getting, because by the time you have your first item completed and Jockshow, you should be maxed out on your Q cooldown, which is 1.75 seconds, and you will have your Q will do a lot of damage, W does a lot of damage, and your R will also do a lot of damage. And once you have this stacked up, all your resists just convert into damage, which is, you know, your choice when you want to go and do damage mode. What was I saying? Yeah, first item, situational. Into other AD champions, like, here, I think I was against Kale? No, I was against Quinn this guy. Oh yeah, I was against a Kale somewhere here. Not sure it was this game, but I think I did go Zeke's into a Kale. Now, Zeke's is also a really nice first item. I haven't been able to pinpoint when and when not to build it, but it's a really cheap item that really helps you be able to lock on to those champions that don't want to trade with you, right? So it's kind of hard to explain. It's really hard to explain, but pretty much Gauntlet has a slow on command, and you can just take smaller trades. Like I think I went Gauntlet Rush versus a Darius, and it worked wonders. Any trade I took with him, I was able to just back out whenever I wanted, and it was really hard for him to stick on me. But Zeke's, I think, is better for ranged champions, because Gauntlet, you're not constantly getting those auto attacks on ranged champions. Zeke's, you're playing for more of an all-in type playstyle. So, yeah, I don't think I can pinpoint the game. Oh yeah, here, this game. Oh yeah, we did end up losing, but I made their kill, like, cry in her sleep. And the reason is, I was gonna go Kaenic here, right? Because Kale is an AP champion, but she started D-Blade and she had lethal tempo. So I knew she would flex her build in some, like, wacky way. So I just said, screw it, I'm just gonna go Zeke's Convergence, which doesn't give me that resists. I'm not building, like, Kaenic Rukern, which just dumps all your stats into magic resist. But I went, like, a flexible item that just allowed me to do what I wanted to do. And then I just moved into Jacques Show afterwards and got the good resists. And I think that's really good because, you know, Kale is like, she constantly wants to space you, so you're not going to be able to get those auto attacks off on her with Gauntlet like you might be able to with Darius. Like here, I went Gauntlet into Darius because I knew I would be able to just space him infinitely. Or not space infinitely, but, you know, I was able to control the trade more. And if you go Zeke's into Darius, well, you don't really want to all-in a Darius. You know, you're just going to lose. But, yeah, that's sort of my point. You want to build Zeke's for those, like, pesky people that you can't really auto-attack. But, like, you also don't want to build it into a Kennen, right? Like, you don't want to go Zeke's into a Kennen. You have to admit, or you have to, like, consider, like, am I going to be able to kill this person? Like, am I going to be able to kill this person? I actually did that. Like, I had to come to realization that I could not just go Gauntlet and kill everyone. Past Gauntlet. Like, I'm facing a lot of Vladimirs now, and I just accept the fact that I go Kaenic and I just play to scale because I know my mid game and my late game is ridiculously strong. So, after you're done flexing your first item against who you're against, and building Jacques Show, grab tier 2s after your first item, or before your first item, whenever you want to build boots. Usually I like to finish, or get boots, and then finish my first item, and then grab tier 2s, and then grab a Jacques Show. And then for your third option, I kind of just have it split between magic resist and armor options. But from here on out, it's pretty much just situational. What does their team need? What does their team do? Do they heal? Do we have an enchanter? You can go Spirit Visage if they have magic resist. Do I have a way to stick on them is another part. Like if they have... You want to look at how they deal magic resist, right? I think Force of Nature is the most underrated magic resist item right now. This shit gives you 125 magic resist. And I just explained to you how good resistances are in Cassante. Bro, this item, you don't even need Gauntlet. 15% movement speed when it's fully stacked up in a team fight with Ghost? Hell, even without Ghost, no one is escaping you when you have Force of Nature stacked up. I love this item so much. So I always try and get it in, even if I don't have a Gauntlet. Because, you know what? Cassante might feel like hell without Gauntlet. But you have that 15% movement speed, and if you can't get an angle to build Force of Nature, you can build up Gauntlet later on as well. The reason I don't like building Gauntlet too early now is because it scales off of health, the slow. I mean, it used to before, but I think the slow is much more impactful late game because you have more health items stacked up. and it's really good. So you can copy my build set here. I just have some armor items, magic resist options, and then I have a situational down here. Obviously, if they have 1 AP or 1 AD, you can throw an anathemas in there somewhere. Styrax, I like to grab 5th or 6th, and then Sundered Sky is the best item, and this just activates your entire carry potential. So I have found when and when not to build Sundered Sky is when you have a magic resist item, Jacques Show, and an armor item and tier 2 boots. Once you have those like 4 main things, well, not including or including boots, 3 main items, the soul armor item, so like Frozen Heart, you have Jacques Show, and then a magic resist item like Kanik. Then you can build Sundered Sky, because you want to make sure you're getting those resists into your kit before you start building these health and bruisery items. Because if you go these health and bruisery items too early, well, now your Q is stuck on a 2.5 second cooldown, which heavily limits your champion. And trust me, you want a low cooldown on your Q. That's also why I built Styrax 5th or 6th. Sundered Sky, you can even go at 4th. As I said, if you have those resistance items. So let me show you how good it has worked for me. So here, let's look at my build. So I'm against a Kiana, so I go Frozen Heart because I see they have a set which likes to auto attack a little bit. Kiana, you know, Frozen Heart is just naturally good into her. Screws up her combo, and then they have a Varus. Doesn't really matter. When you're building Frozen Heart, you just kind of have to think, do they auto attack like at all? Like, that's all you need to think about. Do they auto attack? Do they like mix in their auto attacks in their kit? If yes, this item's good. Frozen Heart is the most broken item. And like, I have first-hand experience with this. Like, Cassante, when you think of Cassante and building Frozen Heart against him, you might not think, oh, it's not even that like crazy. But it's crazy. Cassante relies on weaving in those auto attacks, like those auto attack resets, those Q autos, the Q passives. It slows him down so much, and it messes with people's rhythm so much. Trust me when I say Frozen Heart, like even into Kiana, like she's like more of a spell casting, but Kiana likes to mix in her autos and her combo every here and now and then. So Frozen Heart, it's like not even that bad of an item. So you can see I go Frozen Heart into the AD lane opponent, then I go Jacques Show second, and then I grab a magic resist item, Kanik Rukern for Brand, and I also went Shield Bash this game. Note, like, Shield Bash just goes hand in hand with Rukern, and then I go Sundered Sky, and I just take over the game. I did insanely well. Sundered Sky is just a wild item. So let's see what else I built. So here I was against the Yone. I noticed they have a Jinx auto attacker. Yone is an auto attacker, pretty no-brainer. Just go Frozen Heart first here. Jacques Show second, leading into Kanik for the Fiddlesticks and the Azir, and then I just finish off with the Sundered Sky. So I want to like quiz you guys. I want you to look at their comp and think like, ooh, what would I build here? So let me find a game. So here, hold on. I don't think I can like pull this off too well, but yeah, I don't actually know how I'm gonna pull this off, but just look at their comp, try and ignore what I built, or you can look at what I built, but just like guess the order I built it in, right? Because you have to realize that the items in what order you build it in matters a lot. So let's get a good example here. So here I built Gauntlet into Darius. Here I was playing mid lane against an Aurelion Soul. I went Kanik first, and then into Jacques Show. Actually, no, I went Kanik and then Gauntlet. I went Gauntlet second this game. Oh, this was 10 days ago. I was just learning a little bit of stuff. Gauntlet second is also fine if you want to delay Jacques Show for third. But yeah, a lot of these games are just try and cover your build with your hand. Like, just put your hand on the screen right now and just cover the build. So for this game, I'm against a Talia. Don't even look at my build. I'm against a Talia mid lane, and they have a Rengar jungle, Singe top, and Varus ADC. So I would just go Kanik for the lane, and then go into Jaksho, and then I would either grab a Gauntlet or a Frozen Heart third, and then go Sundered Sky if I'm scaling. Let's see. And now I'll take my hand. What did I build? Oh, I actually went Frozen. Oh yeah, this was a game I tested Force of Nature. I really wanted to test Force of Nature first, and that's because I really love this item a lot. But the thing I realized is just not good at stacking up in lane. You just can't get it stacked up and make it work in lane. It's really sad, but I don't know. It didn't work out. But yeah, I went Jaksho second, and then I went Frozen Heart, and then I started building into a Sundered Sky. Now, Sundered Sky is a very controversial item, and I think it's really good, but you have to know when to not build it as well. So let's take... Oh, there's a good game up here. Sorry, I'm kind of all over the place with this, but there's a game where I took the initiative. It was 50 minutes into the game, and I just admitted that, hey, Sundered Sky is just straight up not gonna work here. And I think Sundered Sky, Sundered Sky is just for massacring entire teams, right? You don't want to go Sundered Sky if you're not doing too well, and you're not playing the best. So here I'm against a Vladimir. I can't really do much. I can't kill him. This game I also tested Hollow Radiance. Kanik would have been 9 times better here. So here I see I have a 22-6 Samira and also a Fed Zoe. I realized that I just need to keep them alive and we win. That's it. So I went Knight's Vow. And the Nautilus also went Knight's Vow. So I just put mine on Zoe. But if I were to go Sundered Sky here, put yourself in my shoes. Sundered Sky is 3,200 gold. Meanwhile, and you're kind of playing a more offensive playstyle. Meanwhile, Knight's Vow is just sort of a defensive option, and you're making the opponent live, or you're making your Fed ADC live longer, and it also heals you as well. The damage they deal heals you, so that's why I really like Knight's Vow. But yeah, I know I went off topic a little bit, but all in all, I think the itemization is a fresh breath of fresh air from going Gauntlet Gargoyle every game. But yeah, Gauntlet is mainly spacing. Jaksho is really good for second and third items. Thornmail for anti-heal. Randuin's is also a good item. I like it. I don't build it a lot, but it is a really good niche item if they have a lot of crit. You're against a Gangplank and a Jinx and a crit mid laner or something, and you need that extra slow, go for it. Sunfire, I already said, don't really like it that much, but if you're against a lot of melees, go for it. Unending Despair as well, really, really, this is the Orin upgraded version, so ignore the stats, but it's a really good item on tanks that have health scalings in their kit, like Sion or in Cho'Gath, because they get the health, and then those health stats scale from their kits and then go into their items. K'Sante doesn't have that. K'Sante has bad health scalings, so I try to avoid these two items, but I will build it if I need to and if they have lots of melee. Typically, I like to save Gauge and Sundered Sky for last. Knight's Vow if you have a Fed enemy laner. And honestly, the best advice I can give you is just try it out. I can give you all the best builds, but you won't know for certain until you've tried it out. I've played how many games on K'Sante already? 50 games. I stopped playing a week ago because I had to start studying for exams. But you pretty much just have to int. To put it bluntly, you have to int. K'Sante is just a champion where you have to constantly learn and adapt to who you're against. Bramblevest against this champion didn't work because they didn't end up even hitting me, and the stats on it didn't even do anything. So maybe I'll grab Bramblevest later. Maybe I won't just focus more on outscaling the champion. K'Sante has so many different stuff you can do. Trust me, this champion has like a world of possibilities. Just keep trying and keep learning for what works and what doesn't against champions. So like keep like a little spreadsheet, or keep a little tracker in your mind, like, hey, I went Jock Show first into Aatrox last time and I got stomped. And, you know, what should I do this time? So against Aatrox, I would maybe grab a Zeke's, because Aatrox sucks at being able to deal with people who just all-in him with the snap of a finger. Like Wukong, Aatrox, I know when I played Aatrox, I struggled a lot against Wukong because he just went in and I couldn't deal with getting him off of me. He had lots of mobility. If you let Aatrox control you in lane, then of course you're going to lose. But if you like just all-in him, and obviously I don't mean just like run at him and kill him, because he's just going to full combo you, but like wait till he misuses a Q, or he dashes in like too confidently, or, you know, maybe he wastes his E or got too close to your tower. Just play and learn the champion over and over and over. I had a 17% win rate with this champion when he came out with rank onto ranked. I inted and I ran it down every single game. I still do, if you watch my streams. But my point is, you have to learn what Cassante is capable of, and you have to learn what his limits are. And I know this was a really scrappy video, but I really wanted to get this out for you guys before my exam started. And as always, I will answer questions and comments. I probably won't stream for a while, or at least until exams are over, which will be in like 1 or 2 weeks. But please leave questions in the comments. You know, maybe someone else has a question that I didn't get to this video and that I can answer for you guys. But yeah, leave any questions you have in the comments. I will answer them. But I'll catch you guys later. Peace.